Hi, welcome to the BoshNRoll channel. I'm your host, Brian Koval. Before we get started, make sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons. If you want to see me play your favorite deck or your spicy brew on the channel, I take donation deck lists. I'll do a deck tech, play a full Magic Online League, and help tune your list. If that sounds good, check out my contact info. It's in the video description below. Now let's go play some Magic. Welcome back to another BoshNRoll video. Today I'm playing Modern, and this is at the request of Patreon subscriber Foxicon, who wanted me to play Bloodbraid Elf, Shardless Agent, and Suspend spells. And I have met those criteria. Here's Bloodbraid Elf, here's Shardless Agent, hot off the presses from Modern Horizons 2. I guess the set's been out for probably 3 or 4 weeks by the time you're seeing this video, but it's new when I'm recording it. And this is the first time I've played with Shardless Agent in Modern. I've played with it a lot in Legacy though. And the only thing to cascade into with Shardless Agent is Crashing Footfalls. So every time I put Shardless Agent on the stack, Crashing Footfalls will join it. Bloodbraid Elf has all sorts of stuff it can hit, but it's all pretty good. We got the nuts is of course cascading into Shardless Agent, then also into Crashing Footfalls. But Violent Outburst also does the same thing. Outburst only gets Footfalls, and Bloodbraid Elf into Outburst does the thing. But Bloodbraid Elf can also hit Teferi, Detention Sphere, Valakut Awakening, Bonecrusher Giant, Vendilion Click, and Brazen Borrower. So this is a heavier 4-color version of the deck. There's a lot of Cascade into Suspend spell decks out there right now. There's a lot of League 5-0s with a bunch of different takes. There's a lot of challenge decks that put up results. I chose this one because it sort of embraces the madness and goes full 4 colors. Not literal madness, the mechanic, but madness of let's just put crazy spells on the stack. I wanted a rug core because Bloodbraid Elf and Shardless Agent require rug. And there are some base rug cores. There's some that are more combo-y, like they play As Foretold and Electro Dominance as well. I saw one that was Living End and Crashing Footfalls, so like you never know, like when you cascade, if you're going to throw your graveyard into the play or if you're going to make 2 RHINOS. And so there's some crazy ones out there, but this one is pretty straightforward, mid-range deck. Crashing Footfalls is the only thing to cascade into, and I like the stability of that. I like knowing whether I'm going to wrath the board or add to it when I cast my cascade spell. This one has added white for Detention Sphere, Teferi, and a Nahiri package, and some sideboard cards. We got Rest in Peace and Core Firewalker out of the sideboard. But Nahiri is pretty cool. This is old Modern technology from when she was first printed. I believe that's Dark Ascension. And when the Nahiri thing is, she comes into play, she's removal. The -2 is exile target enchantment, tapped artifact, or tapped creature. So she does impact the board. If you don't need to impact the board, you can loot. You may, or it's rummage. You may discard a card if you do draw a card, and the ultimate is attack with Emrakul. And the great thing about Nahiri is if you draw your one of Emrakul, you can loot it into a real card, and it's still in your deck for later. So this puts another version of pressure on the board. Like your opponent's going to have to answer these RHINOS, this barrage of RHINOS, and then they also have to respect that Emrakul's coming at all times. The really cool thing about this deck is all of the manipulation of casting costs with the cards that exist in the Modern card pool. You can only cascade into Crashing Footfalls, like I've said, but the deck still gets removal at 2 mana in Stomp, because the adventure part of this card is not the mana value. That's something else on the card. The mana value is 3 of Bonecrusher Giant, but you can still Stomp for 2 mana. Same thing with Petty Theft. And also new for Modern Horizons 2 is Fire and Ice. So Fire Ice, each of these cards cost 2, each of the halves, but when Cascade is looking at the cards it flips off the top of your deck, it sees 4, because the mana value of a split card anywhere other than the stack is the total of both halves of the card. So this is a 4-drop in your deck. You take 4 if you flip it off Dark Confidant. You can't cascade into it with a 3-drop, but you could still cast it as a 2-mana effect. So that's super cool. The only change I made to this list, this is a 5-0 list I found, by the way, so someone is doing well with this. The main deck has 2 Gemstone Caverns, which I love. Just completely embrace the insanity of getting RHINOS into play early and the fact that you're a 4-color deck. The only change I made was that there was a third gemstone cavern in the sideboard, and maybe that makes sense, but I didn't want a third copy of a conditionally relevant legendary land in my deck at all. So I added a second Obsidian Charmaw, which is the new Tron Hate Dragon. Costs 1 less for each land an opponent controls that could produce colorless. It has flying, and when it enters the battlefield, destroy target non-basic land an opponent controls. So just more beef against Tron. The deck had one, I added another. That's the only change I made. And there's Cleansing Wildfires in the sideboard. So there is a plan to keep Tron off what they're doing. Just bridge the gap with Cleansing Wildfire up into Charmaw and then take them out. So this is the deck. Hopefully we make a lot of RHINOS. Here we go. I'm on the play with a Gemstones Cavern, and my life is pain. I have to look at the deck list real quick and figure out how many lands I'm playing, if this is a keepable hand. So there are 24 lands in the deck. There's 53 cards in the deck. 24 times 2 is 48. So we're slightly less than 50-50 to hit a land, and we have 2 chances to do it. I'm gonna keep this. And the Cascade bangers are pretty strong if this gets here. And this does still tap for colorless, which casts Shardless Agent and Violent Outburst. So I'm gonna hold on to this one. Also, in between the time that I recorded the deck tech and started this league, I panicked thinking about Urza Saga, and I added a Fracturing Gust to the sideboard. There was already a Back to Nature, but Fracturing Gust is a card that I've been fantasizing about just blowing people into the dust with, and I've added it to this deck for that reason. Ignoble Hierarch. That's cool. Alright, let's find that land. Easy money. First try. Should I Brazen Borrow the Ignoble Hierarch? Is that the play that I want to make? What are they going to do with this thing, I guess is the question. And how much damage do I have to take? I would have to probably... Yeah, let's go for it. Slow it down. So, if I get Breeding Pool and Stomping Ground... No, Breeding Pool... Oh god. I need blue, of course. So, Breeding Pool, you're in. And then I need green off of this second land. I do have Violent Outburst in my hand, so I guess Stomping Ground is the correct one. This hand doesn't make white, but that's okay. It makes Rug, which is what the deck actually is most of the time. Hopefully that tempo play will buy me some time. I don't have to worry about a Thoughtseize because my hand makes RHINOS, whether they like it or not. Here they come. So they fetched an Overgrown Tomb and Glistener Elf. Okay, so they are poison. This is great because I can Violent Outburst into 2 4/4 blockers just during their turn. Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, I like Violent Outburst better than Shardless Agent for that reason. Here it comes. Alright, so green, red, colorless. Bang. Time to block with some 4/4s. Cascade can only hit Crashing Footfalls. Nice. And they're going to be 5/4s in case that matters. Alright, so I think I just double block. I don't want to get overpowered by pump spells. I want them to have to put a lot into this if they expect to get through this combat. I'm a little worried about the Inkmoth Nexus. That one is a lot harder to answer. Ooh. Protection from red and white. And First Strike. First Strike is a First Strike plus Infect is a serious combo, in case you haven't seen that in action before. So if I attack, they can just kill this one outright with First Strike damage. They would have to trade with this one. First Strike makes it a 2/2, and then the block makes it a trade. Alright, yeah, I'm gonna get in with my Rhino that can trade. And I have another Violent Outburst, so I can deploy more 4/4s on their turn if I think I need to do that. Mostly worried about the Inkmoth Nexus at this point. Fire Ice will be such a slaughter against this deck if I ever draw it. Alright, here comes the Nexus. Am I dead? A scale up, that's 7 damage. Basically any Giant Growth effect beats me here. Alright, yep, dead. Couldn't Brazen Borrow that one, even if I wanted to. Don't have blue. If I had double blue, I would be able to block it with the Brazen Borrower, but I don't. So, punished by the Gemstone Cavern. Alright, what comes in here? I mean, Fracturing Gust does kill Ink Moth, Blink Moth, Ink Moth Nexus, yeah. Obsidian Charmaw also kills Ink Moth Nexus, and it does reduce the cost. This might be like an insane overreaction, but I think it's appropriate. Like, that card is difficult enough to defeat. I don't think Hazard the Fervent or Jace the Mind Sculptor are going to be players in this matchup. Oh, Cleansing Wildfire also destroys Ink Moth Nexus in a way that makes much more sense than Obsidian Charmaw. But I think I'm probably just going to play all of them. This does change my Cascades. I'm not guaranteed Crashing Footfalls anymore, so that's worth noting. I don't think the Emrakul Nahiri thing is going to be part of this matchup either. Yeah. Like, Nahiri is still a pretty clunky removal spell, but I don't think I'm going to be doing the Emrakul thing here. Alright, this is my deck. I have the Fire Ice, but I can't keep this one-lander. Alright, this is a 3-lander with Valakut Awakening. I'm going to keep this and bottom the Crashing Footfalls. I do have a Violent Outburst ready for turn 3. And I'm just going to play Awakening as the land right away. I have an Overgrown Tomb, tapped. Love seeing no play on turn 1 out of Infect. Stomping Ground tapped. No need to take extra damage here. Not that damage is really the axis this game is happening on. Alright, good. Now if I Cascade into Cleansing Wildfire, I at least have a target. Alright, so I think I want to play the Waterlogged Grove and pass the turn. Because I can Outburst as an instant, and that lets me cast Wildfire as an instant if I Cascade into it. So it's 50-50. Oh no, yeah, I haven't shuffled. So there's a Cleansing Outburst on the bottom of my deck. Or a Cleansing Outburst. Crashing Footfalls on the bottom of my deck, which... So there's 3 Wildfires in the mix, and also 3 Footfalls in the mix to hit off this Cascade. This might be dangerous because it fixes their mana and gives them landfall. I could just die to this Plague Stinger because I took this line, but I guess we'll see. Right, so Thoughtseize can take one of the Bloodbraid Elves. Oh, right. Cleansing Wildfire puts land into play tapped. Alright, I think we're good. They do still have a land drop for the turn. Right. No, they definitely take Nahiri, because Nahiri can exile Plague Stinger, and then I have to just Bloodbraid my way into this game. If they don't take Nahiri, I get to slam. Alright, obviously, they did. There's always a hope that an opponent doesn't know what a Planeswalker does, but definitely the obvious choice to anyone who's read the card is take Nahiri. Alright, they do have a land drop, and they have 1 colorless floating from the Ink Moth. Scale up. I'm taking 6. Do they have some mutagenic growths to finish me off? No. Alright. How about a Fire Ice deck? That would be great. No love there. I think I'm dead. Like, there's... I guess the Teferi and Detention Sphere are in the deck. So Bloodbraid Elf does have cast a wider net than the other one does. Alright, not anymore. Cleansing Wildfire. Guess I can just keep destroying their lands. Or I probably want to destroy Gemstone Caverns, because I have a legendary land. 2 copies of a legendary land in my hand. Yeah, that's not great. We've lost for sure. Any spell they have in their 4-card hand is lethal here. Okay. That doesn't mean we're not dead. It just means they didn't slam a giant growth. Okay. We untapped. I was not expecting that. Alright, I get to Cascade with Bloodbraid Elf again. I should look at my revealed cards. So, there's a lot of... How many removal spells have I put on the bottom of the deck? This determines if I want to shuffle before I Cascade or not. So, let's get a good look at this. This one is not on the bottom of my deck. It's in my graveyard, and I cast this. So on the bottom of the deck are 1 Fire Ice and 1 Stomp and 1 Borrower. So there's 3 removal spells on the bottom of the deck. Fire Ice I can't cast it into anyway. So yeah, I guess shuffling, putting any number of... I guess the better question is what misses are on the bottom of the deck. There's 2 Violent Outbursts. Oh wait, no, I cast one of these. Alright, so there's 1 Violent Outburst. So there's 1 miss versus 2 hits on the bottom of the deck. So I think I should shuffle. And I'm gonna get my basic island. Or I guess I could just get Rockrin Triumph here and still cast Bloodbraid Elf. Yeah, that makes sense. Here we go. Hit the Crashing Footfalls anyway. So don't get to attack because first strike is unbeatable. And they just need to come up with 1 power or toughness. Or power. Toughness doesn't matter. They need to come up with 1 power on their 2 flying attackers here. Haha, sucker. I played around that perfectly by having no cards in my hand. Alright, 1 card left in their hand. I'm at 9 poison on board. Here they come. Moment of truth. Alright, I'm at 9 poison. Violent Outburst is lethal, just like the spell Violent Outburst. Fire Ice is also lethal. This has pro red, so 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They block this, they take 10 in combat, and then I burn them out. Let's go. Here comes the squad. Oh, they don't want to lose that. Oh, is Fatal Push. No! Alright. That does beat me. Probably. I guess I get a redraw off of Waterlog Grove. So sack the Waterlog Grove. Violent Outburst. Does that do anything? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I can deal 9 damage, 10, 11. That's not quite enough. Violent Outburst cascades into nothing helpful here. That Fatal Push was really good. And I can't hold up the Fire Ice to just kill their 2 creatures because this one is also lethal now and I don't have a blocker for it. My opponent said, "You made a big mistake." You just had your 1 card in hand was relevant. I had lethal. Yeah, I'm just dead here. I don't think there's a line. Alright, GG. Just to break down the last turn of that last game before I start talking about this one. So my opponent had 1 card in their hand that we knew wasn't a pump spell and probably wasn't a land. So I guess I could infer that it's something reactive if I really took the time to think about it. So let's assume that I just soul read that their card in hand is Fatal Push. Then I guess the attack is the 2 RHINOS attack. They Fatal Push 1, maybe trade off with the other. And then Fire Ice can kill their creatures on their turn, and that's actually pretty good. If I think I did miss 1 low percentage out, I had 3 mana up at the end of that game. Feel free to rewind and look at it if it's confusing to see this board state. But I'm pretty sure I had 3 mana still up and my land drop, so I could have gone to their turn, iced Phyrexian Crusader, and Ice draws a card, and if I draw another Fire Ice, I can fire the other 2 creatures. So there was a low percentage out that I didn't play to. My opponent in the chat said that I punted the game by cleansing Wildfiring my Gemstone Cavern, which I don't understand how that makes any sense. The Wildfire came off of a Cascade. Like, I couldn't have just waited for the Inkmoth Nexus to show up. Like, obviously, like, I had to make the play. It was there. And I upgraded a colorless land into a colored land. And it not only was it colorless, it was a colorless legendary land that I had a 2nd copy of in my hand. So unless I'm to just know 100% that they only play 1 basic land and that it would have been a full Stone Rain against them, I think that converting my land into something helpful is the better play there. So I think that I definitely disagree with them that the Cleansing Wildfire cost me the game. That doesn't make any sense at all. But if I had taken more time to try to deduce what was in their hand, I could have made a safer attack. But also, I lose to any pump spell off the top if I commit to the one attack plus the fire ice line or the fire line. So that was a tough game either way, but it did break the wrong way. Okay, now let's look at this hand. All right, so I have 2 of the 3 lands I need to cast Shardless Agent, and I can Brazen Borrow along the way to buy some time. I don't have a red source for this other stuff, but here it is. Sorry, current opponent, for making you wait 2 minutes while I explained all that. My opponent is a Yorion deck. I'm excited already. So we're just looking for a land. Anyone will do. Got there. Okay, so now I can Stomp or Brazen Borrow at the end of their turn if that's something I'm interested in doing. Like if they play basically any creature, I'll Stomp it here. Okay, so I need some red mana. And I already have blue coming off of this. So I have green, so I can Violent Outburst if I get red. I might as well just get Rockrun Triome, right? It's basically free to do that right now. And it gets all the colors that I might need over the course of the game. Okay, so I can play Misty Rainforest and save damage off Waterlog Grove over the course of a game. I'm gonna pass and commit to a Violent Outburst. I do really like the instant speed nature, the potential surprise of here's 8 power versus getting the extra power off of Shardless Agent. Oh, Imperial Recruiter. Welcome to Modern. First time I've seen this card in a Modern game. All right, they searched for Sanctum Prelate. If they name 0 on that, that's pretty good, actually. Imperial Recruiter is an exciting card to flicker with Yorion. Right, so I have 2 white already, so I think I have 2 blue. The Triome really ties the room together here. I think I want more red. All right, Stomping Ground, and here comes this. Make some rhinoceroses in the end step. I have Sanctum Prelate pretty well covered with this variety of monsters in my hand. Yeah, I'm just gonna fire off the Shardless Agent right now. Just get this board full of RHINOS. Didn't have an instant speed play that time, but here we go. In this red-white deck, they could just cast Wrath of God, but I suspect that the Imperial Recruiter for Sanctum Prelate deck doesn't play Wrath of God. Though, I've been surprised before. They definitely have the Brewer's advantage of I don't know what the hell they're doing, or what I need to play around. But I have Lethal on board, so it's up to them to figure it out. This is where they just cast Wrath of God. Alright, Flicker Wisp does answer a Rhino. Rhino's out of here. I have 12 power of Trample right now, plus a 2/2. Alright, yeah, Stomp and Brazen Borrower together can win this game. I actually only need Stomp. So if they block the 2/2 with Recruiter and Rhino, they still take 4, 8, 9, 10, 11. They take 11. Yeah, they're dead to Stomp here. They need Path to Exile to stay alive another turn. But they lose a life to that. So they Path a Rhino, block a Shardless Agent, take 7 from the other RHINOS. Yeah, they're not dead if they have Path. Another Grove. I'm just gonna swing with the team. Here they come. Ooh, Solitude. That makes sense. Okay. Pitching Sanctum Prelate. Yeah, so Solitude can exile... Oh, if they have Ephemerate, they can blow me up. I will have to respond to Ephemerate with another spell. So is Stomp or Brazen Borrower... Like, if they have another white card in their hand, they can pitch to Solitude again. But, yeah, I think Brazen Borrower is better. Because Stomp... 4, 8... Stomp is still not lethal. No, I want to Stomp the Solitude because I don't want them to have it in their hand because they're untapping into 5 mana here. Alright, so that fizzles the Ephemerate. That's pretty terrifying, though. This deck is powerful. Okay, they just conceded. Alright, cool. Their deck is neat. Gotta watch out for that Solitude. Alright, what do I want to do against this deck? Threads of Disloyalty doesn't seem great because their creatures don't seem great. Hazoret doesn't seem super important. If they have like Solitudes in their deck, that's pretty bad for me. Core Firewalker is pro-red, but it doesn't look like red is really the plan to win the game over there. Maybe I just want Back to Nature in case they're a Blood Moon deck. Oh, I don't know. Like, I saw exclusively non-basic lands come out of them. I think I'm going to bring in the Threads of Disloyalty, because really the only thing I saw out of their deck is creatures. So this is what I'm going to do. Hopefully I can just overpower this deck before they get their engine online, because it does seem like they have some powerful stuff going on in the top end. On the draw with a Gemstone Cavern. Sign me right up. Right, Gemstone Cavern is in. I'm going to exile one of these fetch lands basically at random. Windswept Teeth is actually the bad one. It wasn't full random. But it doesn't really matter either. They have a Heath of their own. Giver of Runes. It would be a shame if someone stomped on that. Alright, I was about to say my hand isn't really going anywhere fast, so that might be a bit of a concern. But this Bloodbraid Elf gives me a ton of action, just gotta make it to turn 3, which is likely to occur, given the state of this board right now. So I'm gonna stomp Giver. Unlike Mother of Runes, Giver can't protect itself. So I'm gonna stomp here, and then I'll probably just play Bone Crusher next turn. I'm gonna get the Island, because I have a 5-color land that gives me a lot of room to breathe. Stomp that. Thalia's in. All of our adventure and companions are joining a pile together in the top of the screen. I'm gonna shock in something here. So I have a 5-color land and an island, so I probably want 2 things that are not islands. Alright, Stomping Ground makes sense. So now I have double basically everything, and Bone Crusher Giant is an enormous creature against this creature deck. How about Bone Crusher Giant, by the way? I've seen this card showing up all the way back as far as Legacy, and it's good. Like, it just does so many stupid things. Alright, I'm not going to Bloodbraid Elf right now, because if I hit a non-creature spell, I can't cast it because of Thalia. You do still have to pay the Thalia tax, which is pretty lame, if you ask me. I'm going to stop in their draw step and see what they're working with on a Vendilion Click. Just check their hand real quick. See what we got. Oh, they're giving up. They don't want me to know their deck list. Alright. That was a clean win. On to the next round. Round number 3. I have kept this hand on the play. It has some mana. It has a Cascade monster. Like, I need to draw something in the next 2 turns in order to hit my turn 3 RHINOS, which obviously improves every matchup dramatically. But I do have a plan, and it's put Bloodbraid Elf on the stack. I don't think this hits anything in my hand. Wow, what a blowout. 4-drop exclusive. Sorry, opponent. I'm going to get the Triome while it's free to get. Alright, found the turn 3 play. I could just ice their land in their upkeep and try to tempo this out. Yeah, I'm kind of into that play. So, ice, tap this. Yeah, they printed Rishadan Deckhand in this format, but they also printed Ice Your Land. Modern hasn't really had a true tempo playstyle in the format, basically ever. So I'm pretty excited about making that play. Alright, just passing the turn here with my instant. They haven't seen Violent Outburst. Also, if they go for another Inquisition of Kozilek, I get to just still have Bloodbraid Elf in my hand. Maybe they'll just play Dark Confidant like it's 2013. And then die to a bunch of RHINOS. Or maybe they'll combo kill me, and I'm the one playing like it's 2013. Let's find out. Tarmogoyf. Yeah, my RHINOS are bigger than that thing. Here they come. was a top card. Didn't even reveal anything. Alright, they fatal pushed one of them. That's fine. The one that remains is still bigger than Tarmogoyf. Ice, ice, baby. I'm going to shock in one of these lands and cast Bloodbraid Elf. In case I hit one of my removal spells, like Detention Sphere or Teferi, I would like to Elf pre-combat. I don't think there's any hits that could grow Tarmogoyf. No. Alright, yeah. So, would I rather have more blue or more white? Probably more blue. The white is a splash. There are cards that cost double blue in the deck. But here we go. Vendilion Click. Yeah, let's check it out. I'm going to target them. I want to know what we're working with. Alright, Kroxa, K-Command, Lightning Bolt. Probably K-Command I'm not really interested in playing against. Though this Liliana is really good here too. K-Command kills Vendilion Click. Yeah, I want to get rid of the Liliana. And attack for 4. Liliana just is a planeswalker that grows the Tarmogoyf bigger than Rhino. Like, she'd come into play, answer one of my creatures, and then when I inevitably kill her, it's going to mess up my my Tarmogoyf math. Alright, so Kroxa is going to get 3 damage off me because I'm definitely discarding a land here. Which Kroxa makes a creature for Tarmogoyf. So, I don't know, maybe taking Liliana didn't make sense. It's unclear. K-Command can pick up Kroxa next turn. Alright, Crashing Footfalls right in the hand where I want it. Alright, I'm going to ice the Tarmogoyf and just get an attack in here. I could also just attack and kill Tarmogoyf with fire. Though I think I'm really into icing things. I don't think this is necessarily the correct play, but it's the one I'm excited about. Hey. When you're accidentally super smart. Alright, suspend Crashing Footfalls, Temple Garden tapped, and then attack for 7. Opponent's at 4. I can Sinkhole their Tarmogoyf. Alright, that 1, 2, 3, 4. There was still one short of Kroxa. Alright, so you're fired in the end step. Is there anything I have in my graveyard that they don't? They have instant land sorcery creature. Instant land sorcery creature. Yeah, so we just all have the same things here. Alright, light you up. They can kill Bloodbraid Elf and make me discard Waterlug Grove in response. They're still dead to the Rhino. They need to have drawn an answer to a 4/4. Or they're dead. Okay, they did draw an answer to a 4/4, and I am out of basic lands. Okay. Alright, so they are stable next turn. But these rhinoceroses are floating. And I can draw a card just real quick here. That didn't help. Okay. Well, they're at 1, and they can Kolaghan's Command Bloodbraid Elf and take out and pick up Tarmogoyf, or they could just bring back Kroxa, and I have to figure out how to beat all those things. Okay, so their plan is K-Command. Crashing Footfalls are coming out in 2 turns. Nice. Alright, that can only hit the Rhino. So I'm not going to play it pre-combat because I want to surprise them with the Rhinos. Or just kill them. That works too. Alright. Yeah, that's fine. Stomp was a pretty good draw. So here's the K-Command. Here's the Stomp. GG, probably. I don't know what they could have here. Alright. Opponents at 1 are in a precarious position. Threads of Disloyalty, insane in this matchup. Wormcoil Engine seems pretty good too. Jund has historically not done well against that card. Worth noting though, rest in peace. They have Tarmogoyf, Kroxa, and K-Command, just that I know of. So maybe rest in peace makes Wormcoil Engine a lot worse because it doesn't die. But maybe rest in peace is something I'm interested in. What gets worse in my deck if I have rest in peace? All right. I'm not sure why this Hazoret is even in the deck, but uh, I'm cutting it. Um, I like all the removal. Vendilion Click is pretty weak, actually, in the Jund matchup. It just dies to a Stiff Breeze. Nahiri is nice. I don't know that I need 4 of her. Discarding Emrakul to loop Emrakul back in doesn't work with Rest in Peace in play, but I am going to leave the Emrakul in. I can still loot it, and it's fine, and Nahiri is still a Planeswalker they need to answer in the deck. Jund was the answer to Jace when they were in Standard together. Like, Bloodbraid Elf was the thing that finally properly pressured Jace the Mind Sculptor. I mean, this card got banned, but, like, also, Bloodbraid Elf was the thing that was pressuring Jace when they were in Standard together. So I'm going to shave the... No, I can't. Can I cut Jace against Jund? Because, oh, if they don't have, like, haste things smashing in... Oh, that's weird. That's a tough call. Like, I have this Rhino plan that I think is probably just better against their deck. This is getting difficult. Do I just cut the Emrakul? Do I cut one of the Violent Outbursts? Is that, like, too many Cascade things? Or is that the right amount of Cascade things? I think I just need all my Cascade things. Alright, alright, Jace is out. Nahiri does do more for the matchup than Jace does, as far as 4-mana Planeswalkers go. Like, if I was going to leave Jace in, I would have to cut a Nahiri or one of the things that Nahiri was, or the Emrakul, and just play Nahiri face up, or, like, fair and square. I'm going to keep this Gemstone Cavern hand. Gemstone Cavern is in. Exile the Windswept Heath again. That's the worst fetch land that I have. They have a Bloodstained Mire. Unfortunately, Inquisition of Kozilek not only does hit a target this time, but it hits an artifact that grows Tarmogoyf. Alright, they had Thoughtseize, though. They learned their lesson. Alright, they took Shardless Agent, which means they're not setting up a 2-turn line where they take my 4-drop this turn and then take my 3-drop the following turn. So I can fetch Rockran Triome with this. Then we'll see what happens next. Wrenn and 6, that's a good card. Alright, so I'm just going to fetch now to save some time. There's nothing they can do. Get my Triome. And didn't draw a 3-drop. Bummer. I'll at least represent the Violent Outburst. So Wrenn and 6 does break all parity of Liliana of the Veil. Ooh, they plussed Wrenn without fetching first. Why? They must be setting up a Fatal Push. That's the only thing that makes sense to do that. So I have white. I have red. I have a 5-color land, so it makes fetching a lot easier. I'm gonna get the Breeding Pool. Oh, there's the Violent Outburst. You would show up right on time like that. Okay, here we go. Bloodbraid Elf. Jund versus Jund. Let's go crazy with this one. Rest in Peace, not bad. Pretty good against Wrenn and 6. I hadn't even considered Wrenn and 6 in my K-Command, Tarmogoyf, Kroxa calculations for playing Rest in Peace. Yeah, so here's where they fetch and Fatal Push, because that's the line they telegraphed. What a surprise! Okay, that's answered. This Wrenn and 6 is just a Prodigal Sorcerer now for 5 turns. They just are probably just going to ping me 5 times and try to get anything out of this. They might have a Bloodbraid Elf of their own. Hopefully it hits something that doesn't take the Violent Outburst out of my hand. Hopefully it just hits Tarmogoyf. Inquisition of Kozilek, no! Okay, I'm going to have to top deck. I'm on a pretty quick clock here. It's a 4-turn clock. The Elf attacks for 3 and then Wrenn pings for 1. And they can do that just 4 times and I'm dead. Here comes the attack. And Wrenn didn't even activate. Whoops, missed a damage. Bummer. Alright, passing the turn, I guess. All right, they're plussing Wrenn again. It looks like they're playing to a game where they eventually remove Rest in Peace and then they emblem their Wrenn. Which is also a reasonable decision, but it does take turns off their clock. Like, I'm now on a 5-turn clock instead of 4-turn because they didn't commit to pinging with Wrenn. They forgot to activate it all last turn, and they plussed it this turn, so that's 2 damage I didn't take, which means that I can fetch with Windswept Heath, and it doesn't change the clock. Ooh. Forest was the only fetchable land left with this somehow. That's awkward. Alright, Violent Outburst, not bad. Alright, so if this hits a second Rest in Peace, it's bad. If it hits a Crashing Footfalls, it's very good. And those are the only 2 things I can hit. Okay, they're pinging me now. Change places. Alright, deck, give me some blockers. It is awkward that my sideboard plan also messes up my main deck plan. Yep, second Rest in Peace. Got him. Well, that takes off the Ren plan at least, but it doesn't help me not die right now. So I go to 5. Got a lot of bad draws in my deck right now. I'm actually dead on board to the Raging Ravine. Even if I can answer... Yeah, Plague Engineer. I don't think I have any outs. You just name Rhinoceros with this? Or Rhino? Wizard. What wizards are in my deck? Alright, that's not a wizard. I'm just dead. Alright, so they just pounded through the Rest in Peace. Being able to cascade into Rest in Peace makes me want fewer of them in the deck. Because, like, you want exactly 1. And you can cascade into it if you're just frantically digging for it. But once you have 1, you really want to hit Crashing Footfalls with the rest of the things. So I think I want 1 Rest in Peace in the Cascade pool. Oh, that's really interesting. Playing this deck is hard. I think I want all 4 Nahiris back in too. Like, just play a bigger game than them. Threaten the Emrakul. This is what I'm doing. I still think all of those cards are better than Vendilion Click. Just creatures that die to Kolaghan's Commander are not a deal. Hell yeah. You put 1 Rest in Peace in your deck so you can draw it in your opening hand. That is the plan. Okay, so if they have an Inquisition or Thoughtseize, they can take the Rest in Peace, but they saw 2 of them in game 1, or game 2. So, okay, they just didn't have anything. So I am going to cast my Rest in Peace this turn. I'm going to get the Rockrin Triome. This Triome's been pretty nice. Nice. I'm going to shock in... what do I need more of? Double red and double blue. There's no steam vents in the deck. I already have my white splash covered. I do have 2 red cards in my hand, 3 red cards in my hand right now, so I'm going to get Stomping Ground. And get the Rip into play. Alright, so that covers Wrenn and 6, Tarmogoyf, and Kroxa for a little while. And I know Shardless Agent is going to make RHINOS. Okay. I'm pretty sure I get to choose whether this is exiled with Rest in Peace or exiled with a void counter on it. So I'm going to get the Forest, and I'm going to check my exile. It's exiled with Rest in Peace. It does not have a void counter on it. Yeah, that is how that's supposed to work, as far as I know. So, blue-green, here's some RHINOS. Let's go. And pass the turn. Yeah, the owner of an affected object gets to decide what replacement effects happen in what order, if there's more than one in place. And Rest in Peace is exiling my cards that would go to the graveyard, and so is Dauthi Voidwalker. And as the owner of the affected cards, and I think the game should be letting me choose, but it is just defaulting to Rest in Peace. Yeah, none of these have void counters on them. That is how that's supposed to work. Okay, so I have a clean sort of tempo path to victory here that doesn't involve Bloodbraid Elf. So I'm just going to leave up my 4 mana and all these spells. And yeah, I just have a fistful of instants here. If I ice them, they can't Bloodbraid Elf this turn. So I am going to do that. And I can still fire something else. Ice them off black-red. Yeah, I think Bloodbraid Elf is the only like reasonable way they can get back in this game. I don't think there's a copy with Dauthi Voidwalker, or a combo with Dauthi Voidwalker in Modern There are lethal lines with Voidwalker where you just die to 5 mana in Legacy and Vintage with Helm of Obedience, but I don't think any card like that exists in Modern. So I can't wait to be surprised. I do have to shock here if I want to cast my spell, which I guess I don't need to. Alright, yeah, they're dead anyway, so I don't need to shock and leave myself dead to double bolt when I didn't have to. I'm going to put them to 2. If they have Fatal Push, they can stay alive, kinda. If they have Assassin's Trophy on the turn, I just drew my second basic. Fuck my life. Alright. I will not search, I'll be honest about it. I don't have anything. Alright, so they're at 6 life. I can put Nahiri into play and exile Dauthi Voidwalker. I could just leave up all my instants again. I could jam Bloodbraid Elf. I really don't like jamming Bloodbraid Elf. Why not? What's wrong with jamming Bloodbraid Elf? What can I hit? What are the 3s in the deck? Brazen Borrower, Bone Crusher Giant, Valakut Awakening, more RHINOS. I guess all the 3s in the deck do kind of hit. Though, the Dauthi Voidwalker, if I play a 4-drop, it's going to be Nahiri, because the Voidwalker can put me into double bolt range. I'm just going to pass the turn with my 2 instants available. Oh, they went to 5. If they fetch again, I can just burn them out. Alright, so they are going face with Lightning Bolt here. I'm going to stomp the Voidwalker now, because that's going to happen anyway. Let's just get it out of here. Now that they committed a bolt to my face, let's hope they don't have 2 more of them. They have 3 cards in hand. I can ice a Bloodbraid Elf when it comes into play, so I'm not going to do like the upkeep ice this turn. Alright, how'd we do? Dauthi Voidwalker again, sure. Alright, so Bloodbraid Elf is in play. Are they going to attack with it? If their hand is Land Bolt, I lose. Yeah, so I'm just going to ice the Bloodbraid Elf. And then my Bloodbraid Elf plus Rhino is a lethal attack next turn, and this plays around Land Bolt. Here we go. Bang. Shardless Agent. We even get a full pop-off on the final turn. Not that it's necessary. Alright, looks like they conceded. Alright, we did it. Beat Jund with different Jund. On to the next round. On the draw for round number 3. I'm on the draw with a Gemstone Cavern, and I have Hazoret in hand, which so far has served exclusively as a card to board out, and now it's gonna serve as a card to pitch to Gemstone Cavern. This hand needs a land, actually 2 of them, because it's almost mono 4-drops, but it's pretty powerful, and I'm not gonna ship a Gemstone Cavern on the draw. Put in my Cavern. Opponent is on 6. I'm gonna pitch the Hazoret. See you later. What do you do in Modern if you're on the play and your opponent goes, before the game, Gemstone Cavern pitching Hazoret? Like, what's in your head right now? Right there, fetching a Verdant Catacombs. Probably in their head is Thoughtseize me and figure out what's going on over there. Oh, Ignoble Hierarch. Are we playing against Infect again? Okay, cool. Misty Rainforest can fetch the Triome, and then I'm just set up on mana forever. Vendilion Click is really good against Infect, if that is what they're doing. They could just play like Liliana of the Veil right now, and I'm probably dead. Okay, this is Yound. Dauthi Voidwalker. That card's been pretty popular. You may play it this turn without paying its mana cost. Okay, so I do want to fetch, because play means land. Choose an exile card an opponent owns. Yeah, play. You can play lands, you can't cast lands. So I do want to fetch before they can use Dauthi Voidwalker to hit a land drop. Not that I think that's going to be super important, but it is like just a non-zero thing. And they already have lands in their graveyard for Tarmogoyf, so I don't need to worry about that. And I do have a Delve spell in my deck. So it's 2 against 1 reasons to fetch in response versus reasons to fetch once it's in play. This is scary though. I mean, this crunches in for 4 every turn with Ignoble Hierarch, and I can't interact with it. But it can't interact with me either. And they have gone to 14 very quickly off their fetch lands. So my good draws include... Oh, are they gonna... Oh, yuck. They get to take my Vendilion Click, and then they can cast it off Voidwalker. That's cool. Yeah, that's something that I mentioned during preview season of like, or I could just top deck the best card. Like, Voidwalker in combination with discard spells is pretty messed up. Alright, here comes Shardless Agent. I get Crashing Footfalls, but they can also Crashing Footfalls with their Voidwalker if they want to. And now if I draw a land, we're just in business. So let's see if they just want a Footfall right now to keep up on board. I don't think they want to click me because they have perfect information about my hand and they know I can't cast anything. They Fatal Pushed. Might have happened quickly. So they're probably gonna crash. Yeah, alright. The feet have fallen. Alright, land plays. Should have been more specific, I guess. So I can Valakut Awakening and just get a fresh 4 cards in my hand, or I can play this and just have an insane... Yeah, I'm just gonna play this and unlock my 4-drops for next turn. Like, we're at the part of the game where 4-drops are good, so let's use them. They have 1 card left in their hand. I am not attacking. I'm on D here. Like, with them having 1 card left in their hand versus my handful of insane 4-drops, my job is to stay alive right now. And that's about it. Cycle Forgotten Cave, that's good. That's a card that's not super helpful. Okay, so I was gonna double block a Rhino anyway, but now they get to kill both things. So here comes the Rhino. I'm just gonna double block it. Because I'm gonna reload with Rhinos next turn off, or I guess I'm not guaranteed Rhinos off Bloodbraid Elf. I do want a Bloodbraid though, because any Planeswalker I play would just die. Like if I play Jace, bounce the Rhino, the second instance of Exalted does finish off Jace. So here comes Bloodbraid Elf. How'd we do? Detention Sphere. Not bad. I can deny them 2 mana. Or I'm just gonna hit the Rhino because that is their biggest thing, and like if they draw a Abrupt Decay or Assassin's Trophy, I don't want them to get their Hierarchs back. And I just went from behind on board. Like if I take the Hierarchs, I still have to figure out how to deal with this Rhino over the next couple turns, and I have a few ways to do it, but like I just have the answer. Let's do it. And because it's a token, it's gone forever. So if I find my Teferi, I can bounce Detention Sphere and reset it on something different, which is not a play that would have existed otherwise. Alright, so they're making me discard. Is Nahiri, Jace, or Bloodbraid Elf the worst card? I think it's actually Jace. Facing down the... yeah, it is Jace, because they get to cast Voidwalker this turn, attack for 2, then they have a 5-power unblockable creature, and I do want to use my Nahiri to exile that at some point, or I can just kill it right now. Bloodbraid Elf. Alright, I'm gonna Bloodbraid Elf, and I can think about the Nahiri and Fire Ice next turn. Stomp without paying its mana cost. Yeah, that was perfect. Basically the nuts. I can fire these 2 Hierarchs next turn. We haven't had a good fire blowout yet in this league. Alright. And we're not going to have it now either. They're just going to pack it up. Okay. Once again, Blue Jund beats regular Jund. So, Threads of Disloyalty is in. The Rest in Peace does interact favorably with Voidwalker, which seems to be a big part of their plan. And bringing in the 1 as something that I can cascade into is pretty exciting in the previous round. So I like Threads a lot. And what did I end up doing last round? I think I cut Jace. Like, even that game we saw where, like, the board was, like, pretty close to stable and I had 4 mana, Jace was still the worst thing that was going on. At least in the context of this deck. Maybe I should be cutting Sinkhole if I'm bringing in Rest in Peace. But if I don't have the Rest in Peace, Sinkhole's really good. Eh, whatever. This looks like a deck to me. Let's go. I have my first hand of the league with Crashing Footfalls just in it, but that's fine. I can suspend it on turn 1. I'm not doing anything anyway. And I probably won't be firing on turn 2. So I can lead on Stomping Ground, suspend Crashing Footfalls, turn 2, play the Triumph tapped, turn 3 Shardless Agents on. At least that's my plan before discard spells mess it up. Speaking of discard spells, here they are. Do you want the Shardless Agent or the Crashing Footfalls? Yeah, Agent I think is a pretty easy choice there. But that's okay because I plan on crashing anyway. But, I mean, happening 4 turns from now rather than right now is certainly the right call. My hand is also immune to Inquisition of Kozilek right now, which I'm really excited about. Ignoble Hierarch, sure. Alright, Footfalls. I think I just want to play Triumph still. Like, I could fire Hierarch, but I think I'd rather get the Triumph into play, and I can fire the Voidwalker directly, because that seems to be a huge part of their plan. They have a bunch of that card. It's like an unblockable threat with Ignoble Hierarch. Bummer. Alright, do you want Fire, Ice, or Nahiri? Alright, they took Nahiri. That does make Goyf pretty big. There's an artifact and a planeswalker, a creature. Yeah, if they do play Tarmogoyf, it's going to be pretty large right now. Liliana, that's a good one. Each player discards. So I think I want to discard the Windswept Heath. And I can figure out what I want to do with my turn next turn. These RHINOS are nice. Just hanging out. Oh, okay. Now I know what I'm doing. Alright, playing this tapped. And I want to ice one of their lands. Probably one of the black ones, though it doesn't matter with Ignoble Hierarch. I guess icing Ignoble Hierarch makes the most sense because it taps for all their colors and also attacks for 1. And I have to ice and not fire because I do want the card. Because I really need to have land Bloodbraid Elf after we both discard cards right now. I'm going to discard the Wooded Foothills to save some life points. Oh, they're Hellbent. Love that. Alright, so I get to Bloodbraid here. Okay. Contrary to what I said 1 second ago, I think I actually do want to fetch for... make sure all my colors are under me. Like, I don't have double blue right now, so I actually do want to fetch. If I thought about that more when I went to discard last turn, probably would have come up with it. Alright, so this is going to hit Footfalls or Rest in Peace. It was a 3 versus 1 equation. And I get to put 3 damage on Liliana, so if they want to remove my Bloodbraid Elf from play, they're going to lose Liliana for it. Wow, it feels good Liliana-ing, or Bloodbraid Elfing the Jund deck. Like, Jund is built to get both players Hellbent, and then jam Bloodbraid Elf on the stack. And that's what they did, but the wrong person jammed Bloodbraid Elf. Nice, yeah, they're screwed. Do you chuck Liliana in the bin to get rid of just Bloodbraid Elf? I guess you do, sure. Right, yeah, and they're on a 2-turn clock, even with the blocker. And here comes some more Rhinoceroses. They're here. I get completely blown out by Maelstrom Pulse, though I don't know if that's a card that Jund still plays. I'm gonna draw a card. Alright, maybe shouldn't have done that, but... So, like, the pros and cons are, I have a lot of powerful 3-drops in my deck, by nature of being a Cascade deck. The con is if I hit a 4-drop that I couldn't cast and they Thoughtseize it, but if they draw Thoughtseize, they lose, so there's really no risk here. Just gotta fade the Maelstrom Pulse. Alright, I faded it. On to the final round. I'm on the draw in the final round with a hand that suspends Footfalls on 1, and then I can stomp or borrow on my way up to Shardless Agent on 3. Sounds pretty good. Just gotta find a land along the way. Ooh, an island. Have we played against any of these yet in the league? I don't think I like that. Alright, so Mishra's Bauble has been activated. And Serum Visions. Okay. Their hand is going to be pretty different than the one they kept. They top-bottom Serum Visions. They draw the card that they topped right away. That's how Bauble works. And I think that Fetch Shock will do less damage to me over time than turn 1 Waterlog Grove. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna get is it Stomping Ground or Breeding Pool? And does it matter? I think it's Stomping Ground because Waterlogged Grove makes blue if I need an emergency Brazen Borrower next turn. Alright, Crashing Footfalls is suspended. That is land number 3, by the way, so the suspend party has begun. At this point, I'm just hoping I'm not playing against a combo deck. Delver of Secrets. Don't you know that card is real bad in Modern? It's okay. I will try to stomp it. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. I'm going to fetch my basic island with this. I think saving damage now is more of a priority than I thought it was a second ago. So I'm gonna let them reveal for their Delver trigger, and then I can decide what I want to do based on that information. Force of Negation. Okay, you can draw that one if you want. That, oh shit. If they want to tap out on their turn, I guess I should have stomped before they made their 3rd land drop. I just like forgot for a second that they were about ready to hardcast that. So I'm gonna Brazen Borrow and not stomp here, because I think stomp is a better card. And if they're gonna counter one of them, I would prefer it to be the Petty Theft. Though Brazen Borrower also blocks Delver the second time around. Alright, I'm gonna Petty Theft. Maybe they'll be less likely to counter this one. I don't know. We'll see. Alright, actual counterspell. Love it. I'm so excited that that's in Modern. I don't even care that I'm gonna lose to it. Okay, Footfalls. Tick, tick, tick. I'm gonna have to overwhelm these counterspells and kill this Delver. Like that is the entire plan right now. So I want to fetch my basic Forest. I'm trying to absorb as much damage as I can because I do have a pretty clean path to win this game. The variable is dying to Delver in the meantime. So hopefully they Force of Negation this Crashing Footfalls because I want my Stomp to resolve on Delver. All right, Force Pitching Expressive Iteration, you got it. All right, no surprises there. By fetching my basics, I have turned off Nahiri as an option, which I'm not the most excited about, but it does at least save some damage. All right, 4th land out of them. Cryptic Command is now on the table. RHINOS. One more turn before RHINOS happen. Alright, I love drawing Emrakul. So I'm going to stomp in their upkeep. That gives them the... it makes them tap mana on their turn while without giving them the draw step to find another counterspell. I can't play around Mana Leak. I could have played around Cryptic right there. I guess I still can. But they can hardcast Force of Negation. Alright, I'm just going to hope they don't have Cryptic Command. And stomp in their upkeep like I planned. Stomp. Wow, that resolved. Alright, now I'm feeling really good about this game. Went from feeling terrible to feeling great just based on Delver Secrets being in play or not. And being at 9 life compared to even... compared to 6. Like, if that Delver connects one more time, that's 2 bolts are lethal, and now they need 3. Which is just a totally different number. I'm going to draw a card because I am looking for a white source for Nahiri at this point. This Emrakul chilling in my hand isn't really where I want to be. I forgot I even had a Raging Ravine in the deck. It hasn't shown up until right now. It is the Rhino turn also. Here they come. I've invested in my future. If they counter this, that's a card out of their hand to deal with Nahiri. If I draw a white source, I'm jamming Nahiri. Okay. Oh, nope. I lied. I'm not jamming it because that puts me to the magic 6 number where I die to 2 bolts. I'm gonna fetch Rockrin Triome in their end step and then untap and play Nahiri at 8 life instead of going to 6 to do it right now. Because I get to cast Bone Crusher with my available mana currently, and they're already pretty far under the gun here. Oh, please spend a Lightning Bolt. Oh, what is this? Unholy Heat? I've never even seen this card. 2 damage to target creature or planeswalker. Deal 6 instead if you have Delirium. So, instant, creature, land, artifact. Okay, they are in fact delirious. That's a good card. Yep. first time even seeing this one. Expressive Iteration. It's not my first time seeing that. I do play Legacy. This is also a good card. Oh, they found a Murktide Regent. That's also a good card. Wow. I've suddenly fallen pretty far behind. And this is going to arrive as an 8/8 probably. Yep. Jesus. So if I fetch, I'm dead in 1 to the Regent, but I'm probably dead to Regent anyway. And I need white because Detention Sphere and Teferi are my answers to this thing. So get the Triome. Oh my god. That was a really good turn cycle for them. Violent Outburst. That makes Rhinoceroses. Pretty sure I'm just on no outs here. Nahiri only exiles tapped creatures, and by the time that thing is tapped, I'm already dead. Yeah. Oh, I guess I have one more look. I can hit Teferi or Detention Sphere off this draw. Boo. Alright. Dead to the 8/8. Wow. I thought we had that one. That was a really good turnaround. Okay, so I want Rest in Peace. They clearly care about Delirium, and they have Murktide Regent. Threads of Disloyalty is really good. I want 2 Rest in Pieces because their deck has counterspells, unlike the last one. And I don't think I want any of these other cards. What is not so good? Once again, Hazoret. I would cut this card from the deck if you're going to try this. It hasn't done anything. I mean, I haven't really given it a chance. I boarded it out literally every match and pitched it to Gemstone Cavern once. So, like, I'm not really sure what this is for. We're already beating the, like, Jund decks that this would normally be for. Oh, Jace wasn't out on that last turn also to bounce the Regent. But, alright, whatever. Oh, Ice also. I had a lot of outs, actually. Like, Ice to tap it, buys me another turn, Jace bounces it, Brazen Borrower. Oh, I had a million outs to that thing. I just didn't hit any of them. Okay. The past is the past. How am I going to win this game? I don't think that the Nahiri Emrakul thing is going to be the plan here. Like, I'm going to win this game or I'm not, based on who gets control of the board. And Nahiri is a 4-drop versus their counterspell deck, so I'm going to just chill on that. All my removals in, except the one Nahiri I just cut, which it barely counts. So, alright, this is my deck. Alright, this hand's good. Keep it. This hand's extremely interactive. I get to interact on turn 2, untap, jam, outburst turn 3. I can outburst on their turn, which makes it even better against the counterspell deck. Also the Force of Negation deck. Alright, Dragon Rage Channeler, no surprise there. That's pretty clearly part of their plan with the Delirium cards. Get my Triome while the getting's good. I could just fire this now. I think I want to do that before they get any triggers out of it. Yeah, you're fired. If they want to spend a Force of Negation and 2-for-1 themselves on this deal, I'll take it. But I'll also take removing this threat from play. I would love a Hymn to Tarok here. Please cast Force of Negation. Coward. Got a Polluted Delta and a pass. I'm going to pass. I have the Violent Outburst. So if they do anything on their turn, I'm jamming. If they pass the turn, I'm also jamming. Alright, so I need a green source here. I think Stomping Ground is the correct one. No, I need double blue more than I need double red, so Breeding Pool is the correct one. Yeah, that makes sense. Alright, here we go. End step, see what you got. Finding a land off the top so I can end step Violent Outburst, untap Bloodbraid Elf, like that's the dream. Let's hope that actually works. Here's the Footfalls. I just sent 2 lands to the bottom off Violent Outburst, so that hurts a little. Here comes the counter spell. Alright, countered. Now it's time to draw a land. Shit. Alright, didn't draw a land. I can... What can I do? I can ice their steam vents in their upkeep. I'm not going to ice now. Like, that doesn't matter. Even if I hit a land drop, I don't have a 2 I can play. So there's no rush on that one. I'm going to ice in their upkeep. I'm not sure if this is worth a counterspell. I mean, I don't care if this is countered, and I like if it resolves, so that's kind of the win-win. Cracking their Scalding Tarn. Yeah, they had to take shock damage because I got them with the upkeep ice. So they can Regent here. I have the Brazen Borrower. So this is not as bad as it was last turn. If they can back it up with Force Mitigation, that's a little bit scary. But I can ice it and then Nahiri it once it's tapped. Like, that's pretty cool. Oh, it's only a 4/4. That's not even that scary. That's smaller than some of my creatures. Alright, I found a land. I'm going to play this as a land. Then I'm going to pass the turn. I'm going to ice the Regent in their upkeep. Like, this at least taxes their mana on their turn. If they want to counter this, that's fine. Very cool. So this whole game is just vastly different if I cast Bloodbraid Elf 2 turns ago and now we're playing this tempo game except Bloodbraid Elf is in play. But obviously that's not what happened. Alright, so I have triple blue. I can Vendilion click them and then also Brazen Borrow. I think I want to borrow the Regent in there. When do I want to do that? Because that's the question. They can replay Regent as a 4/4 again. No, it costs... Yeah, they can get another 4/4. But I don't think that's the play. I'm casting Brazen Borrower and Vendilion Click on their turn. I just have to figure out what order I want to do that in. Oh, they have their very own Brazen Borrower. Okay, so I just figured out the order. I'm going to bounce Brazen Borrower, or use Brazen Borrower to try to bounce Murktide Regent. And then I'm going to Vendilion Click in combat and probably end up trading with Brazen Borrower. Alright, so Petty Theft here. If they fight over this, then that's one less thing they can fight over V-Click with. I mean, V-Click can get bolted, but I'm really testing their hand for counterspells here. Alright, what do you got? 2 Unholy Heats, 3 Murktide Regents, and an Aether Gust. I think I want the Aether Gust gone, because Nahiri is a big part of this plan. And I can't take them off the other removal. Alright. The Heat, it's so unholy. They can Regent here as a 5/5. Yikes. This is so good. Okay, so there's Aether Gust is gone, Unholy Heat's gone, one of the Regents is in play. I actually just made that thing better for them. That's fucked up. Okay, so I can stomp this, and I can fetch Basic Forest. Alright, so Basic Forest, I go to 11, I take 5, I go to 6. I'm in double bolt range, which I don't love, but no, worse things have happened. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll save the one that's going to hurt me until I see what Bloodbraid Elf does. Alright, it's either Rest in Peace or Footfalls. It is Footfalls. Okay. I'm going to attack with Bloodbraid Elf. If they block, I get to stomp so hard. Alright. Didn't block. Probably the right call. Alright, so they can attack me to 5. And then Nahiri can exile Regent. And then... Alright, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They are still 1 mana / delve short of casting the second Regent. Even if they do Unholy Heat, which is only for 2. But if they find a counterspell, probably losing the game on the spot. Though, I have a lethal attack. Though, the Unholy Heat takes the lethal off the attack. So, there's some push and pull here. Alright, Unholy Heat has been cast. Here comes Regent. I have Brazen Borrower that can chump for a turn also. Shardless Agent. Ugh. This is such a tease. If they have any counterspell, like their hand is 2 Murktide Regents and 1 random card. It's not the card they chose off Serum Visions yet, it is a full random. Shardless Agent doesn't cascade into anything that would kill my opponent. Pretty sure I just attack first. Oh, this is a tricky spot. Here come the Rhinoceroses. Hopefully they just Brazen Borrow one of them. Nope. Alright, well, I am dead to a counterspell. Like, actual factual counterspell, I'm dead. Just full stop. Plays include drawing a card off Waterlog Grove, But I probably should have done that first if I was going to do it, because that makes Violent Outburst lethal. If they counter Nahiri, I just lose. Nahiri can get mana leaked. Brazen Borrower doesn't get mana leaked, but they get another draw step in between, and I lose to creature removal at that point. I guess I'm just in on Nahiri, though. I don't think... I'm dead to mana leak anyway. I don't think they play Spell Pierce. I'm going to draw a card with Waterlog Grove and see if I hit Burn Spell. Alright, did not hit a Burn Spell, so all in on this. Please resolve. Okay, Nahiri resolved. We got a little taste. A gift. Okay, so that one played into Force of Negation, which I didn't think about till it was on the stack, where Brazen Borrower doesn't. Basically, Nahiri plays into Force of Negation, but Borrower plays into any burn spell. Oh, that was a tight game. We just had to have it. Or we needed them not to have it, and they didn't that time. Alright, I don't think anything changes about this deck. They didn't see the Rest in Peace that game, which is nice. We're going into game 3, and they're still like pretty deep on the graveyard plan. This is not a keepable hand. Right, I'm going to mulligan the hand with a 4-drop and no acceleration. I'm going to keep the hand full of interaction. I'm going to send Misty Rainforest to the bottom. It's not one of the spells, and I like the Raging Ravine. It ETB's tapped, which is fine on turn 1. Right, there's that. Oh, Fire and Ice. Yeah, Raging Ravine always comes into play tapped. Like, I could get the Triome with the Foothills right now, but I can do that in the future, and if I need an untapped source, I can do it then instead. Alright, so basic, this gets either of my basics, so I'm going to use the Foothills to tutor up the Triome. I guess I could also just fetch basic Mountain here and fire their Channeler, but I kind of want to save the fire for if they play a Delver. Then I just get to go completely insane. I could fire now and make sure it just doesn't become a 3/3. Or I could ignore it and not care. I am going to fire now. Let's start a fight on their turn. And I can still fire off the forest because it's a red card. Cast fire 1/1. It's been a long time since I got to 1/1 people with fire. I'm glad this is a modern card now because Legacy has outclassed this card and it used to be a staple. And I'm glad. I think it's going to be right at home in modern. Yeah, if they want to fight over this now, then I get to do stuff on my turn, which is a good deal. Time for Counterspell. Aether Gust, sure. I think I'm actually gonna top Fire Ice. Because that card's really good. Like, Ice is good when Fire isn't, and vice versa. And I have the lands I need to play the game, so I'm not in a rush to get rid of Fire Ice. Alright, that went into 3/3 mode. So I'm gonna Violent Outburst on my turn, which turns on Force of Negation, but turns off every other counterspell. Kinda hoping for Rest in Peace here. Alright, I hit a Footfalls instead. That's alright, the race is on. I have these Fire Ices. Alright, my RHINOS are in. Bloodbraid Elf's coming. It's a little scary. They did achieve Delirium very quickly. Yeah, but... Okay, so that's a 2-for-1 already. They spent a full card answering half of my card. So Murktide Regent is going to arrive as an 8/8 if they have it right now. And that sucks. They kept their card on top with Bauble. This has to attack every turn, which, I mean, it wants to anyway right now. Alright, they didn't Regent me. I'll take my wins where I can get them. So I am gonna go for Bloodbraid Elf right now off of basic Island. Don't think I'm quite ready for the tempo game. Hit a Crashing Footfalls. I'm dead to Double Bolt. They have 4 cards in hand. They haven't cast a counterspell or a Regent. A Petty Theft. Yeah, sure. I have Brazen Borrower covered, at least. The fire is really good there. Pretty scared of double bolt, though. Just dead. Oh, force negation also. Okay. That's actually fine, because these RHINOS weren't impacting the board in any meaningful way, and I just got 2 cards out of them, including a Murktide Regent, which must mean they have another one. If that's not a card, you just itch when you can make an 8/8 next turn. But if they have another Murktide Regent, that means they don't have double bolt. I don't know. I'm not rooting for them to have Murktide Regent, don't get me wrong. Okay, so I go to 6 here. The bolts are getting more and more deadly. Take my damage. They have 1 card in hand. Ooh. I only have 1 red source in play. I can't fire plus stomp like I want to. I guess I can fire, delver, ice the other creature. I guess I have to... let's see if they crack this fiery islet in the end step. Alright, I'm gonna respawn. Oh, they have lightning bolt, Jesus. That's bad. Okay, so hopefully they mill their top card. If they just keep, then I'm dead. I guess Delver will reveal their top card. Alright, what do you got? Is it bolt? Please don't have bolt. Let me make this game interesting. No lightning bolt, no lightning bolt. Alright, no anything. I'll take that. So I'm gonna ice this creature. Ice that one, and then stomp this one. So either they masterfully slow rolled me on lightning bolt, or we're gonna get to play another turn. Oh, here comes a regent. Still better than lightning bolt. Terrible, but still better than lightning bolt. I'm glad my rest in pieces came up in this game. That was really nice of them. Okay, so I'm gonna fetch the Rockrin Triome here. Finally have a white source. I am dead to everything. So I have to ice into a second answer to... Oh, I guess I can Violent Outburst into Rest in Peace, and that does take lethal off the board. But this fetch land is not in play right now. So I'm gonna have to pass. Ice Murktide Regent in the upkeep. Yeah, that is the play. I guess I would Violent Outburst in combat. Alright, so ice the Regent. Yeah, I want to let them attack. Basically, I'm playing with they don't draw a counterspell versus I do hit Rest in Peace. Alright, they're digging for the lightning bolt. Didn't find it. Alright, here we go. It's a 50-50. We're on the stack. Here we go, here we go. Rest in peace! Don't have counterspell, don't have counterspell, don't have counterspell. This is going to make the Murktide Regent enormous, but I at least get another turn. My opponent said GG in the chat. Was that before or after I played Rest in Peace? Oh, they had Lightning Bolt. Oh, Unholy Heat. That doesn't kill me. I'm at 1. Slow your roll with the GGs in the chat. We got more to play. Brazen Borrower? You don't say. That bounces Murktide Regent? Where's your GG now? Okay. Alright, I gotta chill out. I'm getting a little excited here. Bone Crusher Giant, or Shardless Agent is the play. I need green mana for that. I should also be tapping my basics. So hopefully this one hits Crush. Okay, there we go. So I just have to fade Lightning Bolt for a turn, and then we win. God, I hope I beat this GG in the chat at 1 life. Don't draw Lightning Bolt. Do not draw Lightning Bolt. Haha! They didn't have it. They GG'd me, and I GG'd them back 3 minutes later. That's how you do it. Alright, so another 4-1 on the channel. I've been doing that a lot lately. Someday I'll break into the 5-0. This deck seemed really good. The Cascade was insane. I don't know if you really need all 4 colors. The white was, like, cute, but never came up super important. Like, I played Nahiri once, but that could have been anything. Cut the Hazard. I don't even know what that's for. Just get it out. But, yeah, this deck felt really good. Oh, the white was for Rest in Peace. That was the white card that mattered a lot, actually. Rest in Peace was a huge deal in more than one game. And so if you're splashing white for a sideboard card anyway, maybe you might as well play Nahiri. Detention Sphere came up once too. Okay, all right. Leave the white in. It's fine. This deck was a lot of fun. Other than Hazoret, I'm not going to critique the build too much. Maybe Jace, actually. If you have 4 Nahiris, Jace being just another 4-drop on top of 4 Bloodbraid Elf, 4 Nahiri, yeah, turn Jace and Hazoret into probably just 2 more Stomps. Like, that card was really good. Or a Stomp and a Brazen Borrower, split the difference. Like Brazen Borrower and Bone Crusher Giant. But I would probably just play 4 Bone Crusher Giant. That also lines up pretty well against the Prowess deck, which is really popular in Modern. You can like stomp their Swift Spears and then play a 4/3 to block them. So I'm into that. Those are the changes I would make to the deck. Unfortunately, Fracturing Gust never came up, but that's probably a good news because that means we didn't play against Urza Saga. But that's the league. 4-1 felt good, and the loss might have been winnable, but that Infects felt like a tough matchup. But by definition, when you're playing a Cascade deck, you don't get a lot of low-cost interaction. That's just literally how it lines up. Like, if you were playing Lightning Bolts and Fatal Pushes, then you wouldn't be able to Cascade into Crashing Footfalls. So that's a cost of doing business when you're playing this sort of deck. But it paid off in spades in the Jund matchup and against Delver and stuff. Like, that was all really good. So those were some great games. Thank you all for watching. Foxicon, thank you for asking me to play this. Everyone, if you want to talk about this deck in detail, check out my Patreon. There's a channel Discord that we talk about Magic all the time. If you want to talk about anything else, hit the comments. Remember to like and subscribe while you're here, and I'll see you tomorrow for the next video.